right, welcome to the regular scheduled Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, November 20th, and we will start with roll call.
Thank you. Commissioner Spears?
Present.
Commissioner Pevsner?
Here.
Commissioner Pascal is absent. Commissioner Fryman Hunt?
Here.
Commissioner Buckles?
Here.
Vice Chair Goldstein?
Here.
And Chair Desai.
Here. And Leticia, you had an
An announcement?
to make?
Just to let everyone know that Councilmember Del Mar is caught up at work, and as you know, she's council liaison to the Planning Commission. She was unable to attend the meeting, but she let us know that she will be watching online, so she wanted me to let you know that.
Hi, Denise.
Thank you.
All right.
Stand up and sit up straight.
All right, approval of tonight's agenda.
I'll move we approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And approval of minutes of November 6th, 2014. It's going to be a small group here.
I have one correction. On line 99, I'm referred to as Chair Spears, and while I appreciate the confidence, I'm not sure.
It's like being a senator. Once you get the title, it's for the rest of your life.
You know, I think
You
it...
never take it away.
I think, Bob, if it makes you feel better, on the end credits, it still shows up that way.
Really? Oh, okay, well,
If you'd like us
It's
to
been a
address
while.
you, we could address you that way on the street, too.
no, that's fine. I'm not sure it's doing me any good, so that's okay.
All right, anyone see anything else? No, all right. Well, with that correction, we get an approval.
I'll make a motion to
All
approve.
right, second?
I'm going to abstain, wasn't here.
I'm going to abstain, wasn't here.
Same here.
All right. Those who were here, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Audience comments. So at this time, any person in the audience may address the Planning Commission on any item not listed on tonight's agenda. The Planning Commission welcomes your participation and input, and when addressing the commission, please begin with your name and address for the record, and limit your comments to no more than 4 minutes. All right, we will close audience comments and open the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. The first item, which is conditional use permit 1404, CUP 1404.
Yes, Assistant Planner of Purification will deliver the report.
Good evening, Commissioners and Chair. The item before you is for conditional use permit 1404, located at 122 North Baldwin Avenue. You may recall that the item was continued from October 16th meeting to allow the applicant to address some of your concerns regarding parking, patio space, safety, the trash enclosure, as well as a clear identification of the residential unit itself. With all those concerns, they've revised the proposal, and they have redesigned the residential entry to include a planter to the east, as well as a canopy and a light fixture. 4 residential tandem parking spaces, which are located to the east or in the rear of the building. They relocated the trash enclosure. They've also included patio space, about roughly 210 square feet of patio area, which is also located in the rear. That's also in addition to the 300 square feet of a covered porch located on the actual first level of the building. With those revisions, they are still requesting to alter some of the R3 standards, including setbacks, lot coverage, and off-street parking. While they do comply with the minimum 12 parking spaces, the 4 that they are, including the 4 tandem ones in the rear, they're just not enclosed where the code requires them to be enclosed. Here's the site plan to show the changes. This is the entrance. There were some concerns about the path of travel for the parking and, coming out of the residential unit. The applicant has located a planter here to the east, so it kind of recesses the entrance. The 4 tandem parking spaces are located here to the rear. Again, they're not enclosed, but they are tandem. You can't be seen from the public right away. Here's the roughly 200, I think it's 213 square feet actually, private patio, separated by a planter. And the trash enclosure. It's located also in the rear, near the stairs. The proposed floor plan, it hasn't changed at all. Still kind of hard to see, but it's still being proposed as 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single unit. Here's a plan view of the detail on the entrance. Here's the front door, the existing planter to the west, and this is going to be the new planter here on the east side. Again, it somewhat recesses the front entrance. Here in this dotted line is actually a canopy, which you'll see on this elevation. Here on the elevation, there's a canopy that they're proposing to go above the doorway, as well as a light fixture. And this is the planter to the east. This is the existing planter to the west. The canopy will be matching with the trim on the existing building. These are the 6 findings that are included with the conditional use permit that we have made pursuant to the attached resolution. And staff does recommend that the Planning Commission approve conditional use permit 1404 pursuant to resolution 14-15. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and the applicant is also here to answer any for you.
Is, in the printed staff report, is there something different in here than we had on?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. It was actually an oversight. We forgot to include the last staff report as one of the exhibits, so that's
Oh, I see.
what's before you on the
This is
dais.
the old one. Okay, thank you.
It's the old one, yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
So, currently, there is no new construction in the city of Sierra Madre because of the drought. But this building already has its water meter, so
Correct.
they are allowed to modify the building and put in a residence. And it's a single-family type of residence because there's only one unit down
That's
there.
correct, yeah, 1 unit. Yep.
As part of the permitting process, are they required to install any water conservation appliances?
Not at this point, no.
So they could put in whatever they wanted?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Derek, yeah, on the, 2 questions. One, on the tandem parking, I assume, and maybe you can corroborate, as far as it being striped or the size, that's all meets our.
Yes, yeah, the size it does meet. If you actually look at the conditions, we put a condition to identify that parking as residential parking. That way, there's no overflow from the commercial to the residential. So that will be striped, but yeah, as far as the size goes, yes, it does meet code.
Okay. And then, can you clarify on the plan there at the northwest stair that goes from the basement to ground level? It says water management system to comply with code and be confirmed by engineer.
Yes,
So this-
this area here.
Yeah, what is
Yeah, at the last meeting, there was some concerns about water overflowing into that area. So the applicant will be introducing some type of water management to, that way it doesn't overflow into the unit, because this is actually, it's a separate entrance that was coming down here, and I think there was some concern that when it rains, if we ever get some rain, that water would overflow into the unit, so there's going to be some type of
Sump pump or something?
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I can talk just a little about that.
Sure.
We talked to some folks, professionals, about that exact issue, and we don't love sump pumps because, one, they can break into the consume electricity. So the reason I didn't just say sump pump is I'm hoping to find a gravity solution, and was told, yes, probably, but I can't promise. So the answer is it's either going to be a sump pump or it's going to be a grate and a drain that exits without any mechanicals. For the obvious maintenance reasons, I'd rather not just pump it back up out. Ideally, I'd like to find a way to reuse it and get into those planters, but it's a long run, so we'll see about that.
Okay.
But the answer is Sump pump will
device.
definitely work, it's just not the first choice, so if I can find some that doesn't use power, I'll do some that doesn't use power.
Okay, perfect.
It's just the building code.
Thank you.
Yeah, for remodels.
Do you have any other questions?
I know it says here someplace, but how many parking spaces are required?
It would be a total of 12 parking spaces.
12 are required,
12 are required
but
there.
there's more than 12.
For the
in
commercial
now.
use,
For the commercial is 12, and then
The
they're
f-
providing 14.
Right.
Right, yeah. So they're actually providing more than what's required.
right. But the 4 residential ones are uncovered, which is what the CUP is requesting.
That's correct, yeah, that would be they're requesting the alteration of the
Right.
occupancy standards, yep.
Just to detail that, the breakdown is 2 enclosed spaces plus 1 uncovered space for the residential use, and then 9 uncovered spaces for the commercial use. So that's a total of 12, and they're providing 14.
Yeah.
They're providing 2 additional,
9 plus 4.
even though they're not providing covered.
Right.
So there are 11 spaces for the commercial and 4 spaces for the residential use.
So-
Correct.
Mhm.
Effectively, they're providing 11 for the commercial and then 4 for the
There's
residential.
11, yeah, and 4,
Mhm.
so it's 15, right?
15,
Uh,
yes.
It's nice to see someone providing more than the minimum.
And if I may also, in terms of low-flow toilets, that question was made, and the building code does require for interior remodels, starting this year, that you provide low-flow toilets and also low-flow water faucets and shower heads.
Okay,
They
so
should-
that will be
should-
part of their,
Yeah, they would need to comply with that.
Thank you, Derek. Do you want to hear from the applicant?
Hi, everyone. Alan Graves, back again. I'm really happy with this. We've tried to be responsive to all the recommendations we've received. Staff has been very responsive. We agree with everything they've told you. I'm excited about the project. As you all probably know, my office is directly above this. I'm at the project site literally 6 days a week, and we're excited about it. We think we're there, and can't wait to get started.
All right, let's open it up to the public. Would anyone like to speak on this project? Come on up.
Matthew Bryant, Edgeview Drive. First, let me say I appreciate the Planning Commission taking the time to really scrutinize this project. I think it is important for the community to have, projects that are, compatible with the community's values and the types of projects that we want. Now, that being said, I'm generally opposed to most development projects. But I don't want to be known as someone who's opposed to all development projects, because there are some good projects out there. And I think this is one of them. I sat at the last meeting on October 16th. I paid close attention. It seems like there was already a illegal unit there that was functioning as a residence, and Mr. Graves now wants to legalize that. And so I think he should be commended for that. I know that lower floor evidently has a fireplace, so has a historical significance, so it's great that he's trying to make the best use possible of the property. So I would basically encourage the Planning Commission to approve this project. And one final thing I just want to say is that, I've attended many Planning Commission meetings, and I've seen developers come up here, and it's a very, well, I won't mention anyone in particular, but there can be a hostile, adverse relationship with the planning commissioner. And the perception I have sitting in the back the last couple of meetings is that Mr. Graves seems to be listening to your recommendations. And it seems to be just a totally different demeanor than what we've seen sometimes with other developers. So that's appreciated. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Barry Gold, live at 441 Ramona Avenue. I have a lot of concern about any development in our city, because I believe in the tradition of the city of preserving the uniqueness of it. And I've been at many city council meetings and many planning commission meetings where there have been issues where large numbers of people have spoke against certain things that you have had to review. And as Mr. Bryan said, I also agree that this is a very unique and interesting use, and it does, it already exists, this space, so to say it blends in is a given, and I think you should approve it. And your job is to do that which is in the best interest of this community. If this was something the community didn't want, you'd see a few more people here speaking against it, because as you know, there are people who are not very bashful about coming and speaking against things that they don't think are good for the city. I think this one would be very nice to have because of its uniqueness, and I urge you to approve it. Thank you.
All right, we will close public comment and bring it back to the commission here.
I'll go first.
Starks. All right.
We asked the applicant to do some things, and they did them. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I think it's much better now. I think they've addressed those issues. And I too think, you know, it's nice to be able to keep a housing unit that may have gone away. There's a shortage of housing in Southern California. And I know, generally speaking, people don't want to have new buildings built in Sierra Madre, but this is already being used as a housing unit, and I think it's really important to preserve it in that way.
And I agree with what Gina said, and I think he made a big improvement on the entry, putting that canopy over the top and adding that planter. And I agree with keeping it as a residential when it was originally the residential residence of the doctor of the hospital itself. I think that's a lot of history of the town. So I commend you.
I also really think that canopy, it looks good. I think it really improves. That whole side of the building looks way better with that little touch.
Yeah.
I can tell you that in 1973, when I joined the fire department, I responded to that facility. It was a Christian Science assisted living facility. And we took a lot of people from there down to the hospital, and yes, that was, so it's been a residential facility in the past, and there was someone living down there, so so I don't know whether this is unique or interesting, and I think it's more of a restoration of it's always been, so we're bringing it up to code. I think that it doesn't need covered parking, given where it is and the present condition of the lot. I don't think we're going to change the setbacks that the concrete has been poured. So I think we can meet all the findings and improve the CUP.
Yeah, I'll concur with all of that. I appreciate all the changes you made. I think it's a better project for that. I appreciate the tone. Findings are met. I'm good.
I thought we were gonna get a covered patio out of it, but, you made all the other things. I can support it. I concur with all the comments here, the commissioners. I had a couple of minor questions. The planter that encloses the patio, what's your intention of making that? Is it gonna be concrete?
My guess is we'll go with something a little more texture than that. If it's concrete, it'll be with a poured smooth finish. It's not going to be cinder block that looks like cinder block. If you look at the existing property, I had all of the existing work redone,
Yeah.
so it's got kind of that smooth finish. Probably will stay with that look. As for
Okay.
what goes under it, I'll ask someone who is better than me in engineering stuff.
But it'll be a fixed planter versus?
Try to make it look visually consistent with what's there.
Okay, and then I noticed here on the plan, the planter doesn't go all the way to the, if it's a block wall or fence line there, is that intended as a gap so you can gain access from the parking to that patio, or is there a reason?
Here, let me make sure I'm looking at exactly what you want.
It's on your A.204.
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it provides the ability to access the parking space from there, which I thought just made sense. And two, that line there is not a wall, it's just, it's a wall that's
Really low.
a few inches high, so having a wall go all the way up to an end would actually look kind of weird, because then there's Verizon's lot, which is weedy and unpleasant, and it would be visually odd to, if I had a real wall to meet, you might say, gosh, a corner would make sense, but I can't have that, because there's just a gap in Verizon. So given that I can't have a nice square shape, I thought it made more sense to be able to walk through.
Okay, just nitpicky thing here. I would put a dimension on that and probably want something around 3 feet.
Absolutely.
Where's the access into that area from the unit? Is that it?
You'd have to go up the stairs.
You
I
go
think.
up the stairs from
That,
the door that faces onto Baldwin, and there's a walkway all the way across. That blank space really is a walk space. There's nothing, there's an actual little
Right,
sidewalk kind of space there.
right, you're right, okay. But if you're coming into it from the unit itself, how would you get into that?
No, that lower door is a door into the unit. So
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the unit has 2 doors. It's actually my favorite door to the whole place. When you're in front of the building, it's a walk down, kind of like East Coast buildings are. I feel like Guy Noir should have his little private eye thing on it, right? And we're keeping the old, I mean, well, not that exact door, but it'll look the same. It'll be a door with half glass and the pane in the front. But that is an access from the residence. That's where
Okay,
that door
so
goes.
you come down that little walk, okay.
Correct.
That's fine.
all right, perfect. Yeah, I think, I want to thank you for, sounds silly to say, but listening to our comments and applying them in a manner that works and I think actually improves the project. So, thank you for that. And I have no other objections. I think we can make all the findings and approve, so.
I make a motion to approve PC Resolution 1415.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are at the oral communication portion of tonight's meeting. For the audience, this is an additional opportunity for any person to address the planning commission on an item that is not on the agenda. When addressing the commission, please provide your name and address for the record. All right, not seeing a rush to the podium here. We will close audience communication and bring it to the planning commission.
Having just read the minutes, because I wasn't at the last meeting, I noticed that Derek is leaving us, and this is your last meeting?
This is my last meeting.
I just want to thank you for all the hard work you've done. I think you've done a really good job under sometimes extremely trying circumstances in Sierra Madre. I really appreciate all the work you've done for us, and best wishes in your new job.
Yeah, you gotta believe that Danny's watching right now, you know? Hi, Danny. We miss you.
Tisha, will you have enough people to support the mission?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking care of that.
All right, planning and community preservation staff.
Thank you. Just to remind you, you should have gotten an email from me a week or so ago letting you know that the December 4th meeting has been canceled. That typically would have been your general plan review meeting, and so that's been then moved to the December 18th meeting. That meeting is also when we're going to bring back the R1 discussion with some of that,
Oh,
the information that
good.
you asked staff to bring back. So those are the 2 items on the agenda, so.
For the second December meeting.
18th, December 18th, correct.
All right, perfect.
That's all I have.
And then there's no meeting on January 1st, because obviously that's January 1st.
Correct.
All right. No, we only have one, the 15th, I believe. Yeah. Huh. Oh, Leticia, was there, next week, city council meeting? 1 Carter.
The 610 Baldwin Court project is going to council. It's been called for review, as most of you probably know, and they are considering that project on Tuesday, November 25th, and the meeting starts at 6:30.
Okay.
So it would be very helpful if one of you would be available to attend that meeting in case council has any questions.
Okay.
So if you want to decide that amongst yourselves, perhaps check your schedule and decide if you can attend. That would be very helpful. It's always good to have a commissioner there in case any questions come up.
Come on.
Can you, since we're not gonna meet until the 16th, can you send out just a quick email after that meeting so we know what was decided there,
Sure. I can
if
do that.
anything? Great.
Okay.
All right. With that, we are adjourned.